YouTube, Sam here. Well, here's another project, a little bit forcibly. I'm calling this Project GovBug because the government is bugging me about it. Clean this up a little better, and then right here, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. And this is just like the sending unit, basically, for the gas gauge, I believe. But that'll give me a good idea of what's in there, and also probably be able to get the gas out of there a little bit easier maybe. I will go down below where the fuel pump is and probably disconnect all that, make sure all that stuff's kind of ran through so that I'm not running a bunch of good gas or bad gas through as much as I possibly can. So one of those I am not responsible if you do something I do situation. We're dealing with the gas tank, and although most people will probably don't know this, but gas, although flammable, is not what normally catches on fire and explodes. What actually catches on fire and explodes is the fumes coming off the gas. So this is actually probably more of a dangerous situation than having an entirely full tank of gas when it comes down to things, because it's a very empty tank. It's got old, nasty gas, what's left in there. So therefore it's got a lot of nasty old fumes, and those are the problem you will have when it comes to explosions and fires. So be careful with what you're doing. Don't be smoking cigarettes or anything else, in my state especially, and be careful with your tools. The reason I'm saying this is I noticed when I was messing around with things, I smacked a tool on a couple things, just not even thinking about it really, and those are things you got to think about. So once again, I'm not responsible if you try something I do and blow yourself up. Alright. As I expected, this video is going to kind of turn into a video of what not to do when you put away your cars. One big thing is don't leave gas in it if you plan on leaving it for a long period of time. Unhook the filler neck here. A couple of hose clamps. I'll probably get a new piece of hose. This looks like it's original to the car. It's actually a fairly rare fuel injected 77 with a sunroof, so it's worth putting a little bit of time and money into. I guess I should take that off. Kind of sits in there. I could pull this whole thing out if I took all this off, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. Right now my goal is just to kind of get this tank out and hopefully be able to pull it out and empty it. There's also this breather here, which feels pretty seized on there. Up hardly. Pretty much broke that off. Nothing came out here, so somebody tightened that too much. There we go. And that'll get tossed in a while, and we're back on the Volkswagen here. And right behind the passenger side tire, yes, I know that is very rusted, is underneath here. Right there is the fuel pump, and on mine I got a couple of zip ties and some metal things holding it together, some screws and stuff, and it's not exactly perfect, but I'm going to go ahead and replace that now that I'm messing with this stuff now. Anyway, you just undo, at least on mine, there's a bolt there and there's a screw there. I'm assuming there's probably two bolts, and then in between in here is kind of like, should be a rubber thing. Mine is there, but not very well on this side. But anyway, so you undo that, and that should pull off whatever you have holding your fuel injection. This is only for a fuel injected one. It goes up and around in that square box there. I'm assuming is a fuel filter, which I also will be replacing, and it goes up in there to the bottom of the tank. Alright, well, I unhooked it from the back of the fuel pump right there and brought that hose out and around, and now it's draining. Well, for some reason I need to go to the bathroom, so I'll get back at you when I'm done with that. Alright, I think I got a better view now of the two things going in the bottom of the tank. One of them looks like kind of like a brass fitting. I'm going to try to unhook that. It looks like you could use just a wrench and undo that from the bottom. The other one over here is just a regular hose clamp, hooking that one in. It doesn't look to me like this is actually the bottom of the tank. It looks like the tank just pokes through probably those couple holes. So I'm not even actually sure if that one hooks to the tank at all. I just can't tell. Yeah, I think it does. So I'm thinking that the two nipples actually poke through the bottom of the floor here, because this is not the bottom of the tank here. So we'll have to undo those before that tank will be able to be lifted up. Hopefully you can see this right here, that nipple, it's sticking down right there. That had the hose that was going from the fuel filter down to the fuel pump. And the bigger one right there had this one here, which must be a return line is the only thing I can think of it. So they must have a return line on this because it is a fuel pump, and it comes out of the chassis or the bottom of the rig here and goes up and over and up into that, and that stuffs up inside that big pipe. And right there at the end of my finger, I don't know if you can see it, there's a brass fitting right there. That brass fitting is what was up on there. I used a 22 millimeter is what I used. I'm not sure what that relates to. I think that might be, it'd be bigger than 3/4, I would think, but I know that there is an equivalent in non-metric, but 22 millimeter is what I used because that seems to work really well for a lot of this stuff. Anyhow, so that pulled actually out of the bottom of the tank. So the two nipples there are what we were trying to get at. Now I should be able to go up above here and actually pull the tank. So that's probably... Now we got everything from the bottom of this all figured out. I believe we're at the top where we can unbolt it and start pulling it out. First thing, it looks like going up here, there's some sort of a, I don't know, vacuum type air line of some sort, I'm assuming. And it is really, really on there and crusty. So I'm gonna, there's plenty of length here, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut that off, and if I have to replace it, I have to replace it. That hose off, I don't see anything else. We already took those off earlier. The only wire I see going to it was the one here that went to the sending unit area there. So to me it looks like there's, what, four? I think 4 bolts. They're 13 millimeter right here, back over by the filler neck area, and on the opposite corner. Just those 4 is all I see. And they have, so it sits like that on the top of the tank and just kind of clips between the body and the tank right here. So hopefully you can see that. It sits just like that. I apologize if I'm mumbling or you can't hear me. It is very cold in here, and as you all know, I get several comments telling me how much I mumble. And being cold is not helping, because I'm a bit bundled up. That should allow the tank to raise up. There are a few wires and things you got to kind of work around. There we go. Tank is out. And I'll have first project done on the GovBug here. Well, not totally done, obviously. I'm going to have to go through and finish up the fuel system, but this one was just basically on getting this fuel tank out of here, and quite honestly there was hardly any fuel in it. So because I started it, I'm going to go ahead, I've decided to go ahead and finish this video, but I'll probably take a look at it maybe do a little clean out on it, maybe even hose it out and dry it out real good, something like that. But it's really not that dirty in there, so I definitely don't think I need to replace it. And there's not a lot of rust or anything in there. The gas kind of was stinky, but not that bad. I'd put quite a bit of fuel stabilizer stuff in it, so I think I'm okay as far as that. So there's how you take a fuel tank out of a 77 Volkswagen Beetle. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, master of none. You all have a good one.